Hello and welcome to another edition of View from the Bleachers, the only YouTube channel that makes a pledge never to hire terrorists, well, at least not knowingly, in the production of any of our videos. My name is Tim Jones, and today's topic is genealogy services. If you're inclined to research your genealogy, I want you to be forewarned. There's a lot of misinformation and hype out there. Learn from my own mistakes. Not long ago, I signed up for a service called Ancestry.com. The report came back concluding that my roots trace back to a ficus. Turns out the company was a ripoff, luring bad spellers who were looking for Ancestry.com. And that's why I decided to sign up with 22andMe. I know what you're thinking. Don't you mean 23andMe? Well, it turns out that I'm also really bad at math. Anyway, 22andMe offered results in less than a week for half the cost of the more reputable service. I have to say, the results that came back were, well, let's just say mixed. I have more to say about that on the other side. Welcome back. I'm still Tim Jones. When I got the results back from 22andMe, they were a bit disappointing. On the plus side, unlike the more well-known genealogy outfits, which typically require a saliva sample, this company did not ask for any of that fuss. I only had to send in a toenail clipping, a 16-ounce urine sample, 15 strands of hair, and a photo of me dressed like a pirate. You know, in retrospect, that should have probably been a tip-off. Well, when I received my results, it said that I was 99.99% Caucasian. On the Sherwin-Williams paint chart for the color white, it just shows a picture of me. The report went on to say that I fit the profile of an underachiever with self-esteem issues around my career choices. I have to give them points for accuracy there. They also concluded that I have a proclivity towards making impulsive online purchases about my ancestral background without doing adequate research. But perhaps most surprisingly, it also evaluated that you're not as funny a humor writer as you think you are. I found that oddly critical for a DNA report. The summary went on to say, and I know this may astound you, that many of my forebears had extensive facial hair, although more so on my male side than the females. Even more precisely, the report determined that my mother had always hoped I would become a doctor, and my father never really loved me. Wow, this DNA stuff can get incredibly specific. You know, I had hoped for a bit more illumination about my actual genetic history. Fortunately, I learned that for just an additional investment of $250, accompanied by a nose hair sample plus a photo of me in drag, 22andMe could furnish a much more in-depth DNA analysis. The hardest part was explaining to my wife why I needed to borrow her sundress. 2 weeks later, I received a more exhaustive assessment revealing that my primogenitors were 39% more likely to have a craving for sweets, 53% more likely to have owned a cat, and 85% more likely to make poorly timed investments in the stock market. Wow, that's just like me. My distant relatives were more than likely including Celts, Germans, Slovaks, and people who were deeply afraid of the moon. Among my Scottish lineage, they were 75% likely to have had the snot beat out of them by Vikings. It says so right in the report. Now, my DNA profile indicates that my most direct relative from the Middle Ages was probably this guy in the hoodie, second from the right, plowing a field. He could neither read nor write. Thus began a succession of low achievers. The findings went on to disclose that a closer review of my genealogical bloodline indicates that I may have been related to European royalty, like a past king of France or a Danish prince. In fact, and I found this part particularly intriguing, it appears that some pretty famous and powerful people, including Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, King Richard the Lionheart, Queen Victoria, Leonardo da Vinci, and even Cleopatra, were all people who my ancestors were perhaps marginally aware of. What can I say? Most of my ancestors didn't follow the news or know how to read. Of course, I'm fairly certain that if you go back far enough in my genealogical history, I'm pretty sure I'm related to this dude. Now that I study his features more closely, I totally think I have his eyes. A handsome critter, if I do say so. But I digress. In retrospect, I'm still not sure this was worth all the expense, not to mention the hassle my wife gave me for cutting up her dress so it would fit me. I don't think I acquired many insights into my actual heritage, although I feel painfully more aware of my genetic baggage. Earlier today, I received another email from 22andMe, and in this offer, they claimed that for just an additional $500, along with a copy of the deed to our house, they'll provide an even more detailed report. Maybe with these findings, once and for all, I just might be able to reconnect with my long-lost fifth cousins from Bulgaria. I miss them so much. Well, that's the view from the bleachers. I'm Tim Jones. Remember, if you like this video or simply feel sorry for me, please click on the subscribe button below and share this video with your friends or anyone who you'd like to annoy. For more of my humor, you can visit my website, viewfromthebleachers.net, and sign up for my weekly columns. Thank you very much, and bye for now.